When I was searching about Mahabharata, there were many things where from the Buddhist and Jain text which I have referred. These are the things which we unite us. Unfortunately, we haven't projected Hinduism or Buddhism, Jainism in that way. There is one book which is used for the civil services regarding independence of India, which is written by the IPS officer. When I was reading that book, one of the conclusion of the chapter is that idol worship and polytheism is like social illnesses. So you are manufacturing such a generation by giving such a statement that people will develop stereotypes about Hindu practices. If government comes and appoints these IS officers on the UNESCO heritage site or to check up the files, which sites shall be selected for the UNESCO, they will have biasness that okay, idol worship and polytheism is social illness. We shall not take up this issue at a UNESCO tangible heritage list. Some people say Aryan came from Europe, Eurasia, Russia, or Iran. So there are multiple theories. So why these kind of things are created? The reason is to project Hinduism foreign originated through Aryan invasion. Shaktaism, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Yoga, Ayurveda, and even astronomy. These kind of things were quite popular in Indus Valley civilization. You can say it was a Hinduism or proto-Hinduism kind of thing in Indus Valley civilization. But these things were kept away from us.
Hello and welcome everyone to our new podcast at Vartalap Studios. Today we have with us Shubham G. Deore, who is a young author from Mumbai. He wrote his first book while he was preparing for UPSC in Delhi, Karol Bagh. And he has also been invited by Government of India in Gujarat, Digital India 2022. One of his books has been recently published, which is Decolonizing Hinduism. Shubhamji, what inspired you to write this book at such a young age?
From childhood, I was inclined towards communist ideas, critical questioning of religion. At that time, that kind of atmosphere was there. So I was quite critical about Hinduism and religion, and maybe because of era is changing, and because of that modernization or what we are not teaching values and culture to our children. So maybe because of that or other socio-economic factors, I was inclined towards communism. But after that, my parents took initiative that our children should know about our culture, basic things. So they insisted us to watch Ramayana. At that time, I think so Gurmeet Chaudhary's Ramayana was quite famous. Then after that, Mukesh Khanna's Mahabharat. So we got channelized, our value system got channelized in Hindu
Towards
value
Hinduism.
system, towards Hinduism. So it was that time when I got to know all these things after watching Ramayana and Mahabharata. So after that, I was more into medieval India and history, as I am from Maharashtra. So reading about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and all those things are very common. Everybody reads all those books. But after that, in college, I realized that we need to focus on the ancient part also. So my one of the senior insisted me to read about ancient India, and I started reading about ancient India or even other civilization from Mexico to China to Egypt, Mesopotamia. I read all the civilizations, but problem with that was they were written by the Western authors, mostly from colonial era. Many people were interested in all those things, but there was no indigenous perspective. One day I was sitting in the maths class. I bunked my class and I left for the movie while the teacher was teaching with my. So I left with my friends, and I had habit of visiting Crossword in the mall. So in Crossword, I started looking for some indigenous perspective of Hinduism as I was more into it. So I read the book The Vedas by Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, Shankaracharya of Kanchi Pitham. So after that, I got to know what's indigenous perspective, and then I came to Delhi for UPSC preparation, and I read multiple books regarding ancient India, medieval India, but I found that something is not correct. And one day I was reading about ancient India, one of the famous book, and I realized that we cannot continue with this kind of rubbish things, kind of narrative where there the misrepresentation or maligning image of Hinduism or ancient India. So I thought that this is not the way to represent. we need to have some our indigenous perspective, even the terms and terminologies which are used, attributes which are used for Hinduism. So I thought it's right time that I should take initiative. Otherwise, if I wait for more time, then it will be too late to conserve our civilization or consolidate our civilization.
So this is an early question, but I wanted to ask, what do you want to achieve by this book,
Mhm.
and who is your target audience?
I don't target the audience, but I should say that my goal is to give the indigenous perspective. Like sometimes debate happens in the society whether God is one or multiple, how caste system is originated. Generally, if you see, Manusmriti is blamed for the origin of Varna system. Sometimes Ramayana and Mahabharata are merely taken as literature, nothing more than that. So there are so many misconceptions about Hinduism. So I want to remove all those things. And sometimes right and left also put their own narratives. So we need to understand that right and left have their own political goals or own social engineering targets. So they sometimes write history according to that. So I thought that I should explain Hinduism separately, and I should keep these narratives separately. But I openly accept one thing, that in chapter number 10, which is on communism, I have given the political views also about right wing and left wing. What is their value system? How it culminates into education policy? How it culminates into foreign policy? How it culminates into policy making schemes or decision making? Or how government is taking initiatives, on what time? Are they early or too late? So that kind of things I have explained. But I strongly believe that right and left shall be limited to all that political debate. We cannot pull their ideas to write the history, then it becomes a little biased kind of thing. So that's my view about Hinduism.
So basically, early writings about Hinduism is generally to look down upon Hinduism,
Yeah,
so that people cannot defend themselves,
yeah,
and they tend to align towards
either of
communism.
the ideology.
Yeah.
And even communism also, even though communism says religion is a masses of opium, otherwise if you see, communists also interpret religion history their own way.
Yes.
So they also use sometimes history books to promote their ideas. So it is not completely different from religion. In India, it goes along with it.
And your book starts with Congress Manifesto.
Yeah.
How come? I mean, are you a Congress lover or
No,
something?
I am not Congress lover. In 1930s, when independence movement was at peak, at that time, Congress Manifesto was drafted by Mahatma Gandhi, and there was very beautiful statement in that manifesto that British Empire exploited us economically, socially, politically, culturally, spiritually. So we never analyzed that how culturally or spiritually, at what level things were manipulated in our history books or when we speak about the culture. So that was the main thing. So I thought that this is the right statement to hit the public with the grand opening statement by Mahatma Gandhi. So I picked up that statement to give the opening. Otherwise, I don't have any soft corner for Congress or
Liking
any
or
other party.
disliking,
There
yeah.
is nothing like that. But we must accept that all the political parties before independence, they have contributed in independence movement. So it is completely obvious that we can quote them,
Okay.
whatever statement they have given.
And while going through your book, I noticed one thing, that
Yeah.
you have titled the chapters
Yeah,
with some terms which are famous now,
yeah,
such as blockchain,
yeah,
artificial intelligence,
yeah.
and you're saying that you have tried to capture everything from modern India to ancient India. So, is there any relevance of these terms in ancient India also?
While explaining book, yes, it is. I do not claim that this technology is existed in ancient time, but thing is that when we explain the things to youth or today's generation, we must make the content there user friendly, so that it becomes more popular and attractive. So for that, I chose technology as a theme for my book. So
that the youth can
you
relate.
can connect with it. I will give a simple example from Shankaracharya's writing. When he was explaining Mukti and Moksha, he said that if you imagine a pot with the air inside it, pot is like Maya, air inside it is like soul, and outside air is Brahman or omnipresent God. So he said that if you break Maya or pot, then air inside mixes with the air outside. The submission of air inside to the outside air is like submission of soul to the God, and that's the enlightenment, merging of both the air. So that's the example which Shankaracharya given. I thought that I should go one step ahead of it, and I should give example from today's scenario perspective. So artificial intelligence I have used to give example of how history writing is given. Just like in artificial intelligence we have some biases. So in history books we have blockchain technology to explain the decentralized integrated system of Indian society. We do not have centralized system.
Yes.
Generally we see hub and spoke model in the corporates. So just like we use hub and spoke as an example to explain the governance, similarly I have used blockchain technology for Ramayana and Mahabharata. It's multi-layered data science because a lot of things we learn from it. So how it is multi-layered, I have explained that. So quantum physics on the basis of I have explained enlightenment on the basis of quantum physics. So and I do accept that quantum physics terms related to quantum physics are quite comfortable to explain the enlightenment, and it becomes very easy to explain.
And you've also used chapter numbers and a lot of infinity symbols throughout your work. Why?
The infinity symbol is from ancient Hindu philosophy. You must have heard about Big Bang theory. From one event, universe got created. There is one more theory, that is Big Bang theory. Multiple events cause creation and destruction, and in between this civilization is sustaining. So same philosophy exists in Hinduism. Brahma is a creator, Vishnu is a maintenance and sustainer, and Shiva is a destroyer. And every time pralaya happens, then again new set of God comes, and this process keeps on going. So this is the scene of the Hinduism. So in between the two ends of infinity or creation or destruction, we have civilization. So same theme I have written chapter names. First chapter is on infinity, last chapter is on infinity. First chapter is on creation, last infinity chapter is on destruction. Creation of what? History books. How history books are created and how it impacts the rest of the civilization, the value system which we promote through history books, how it shapes the minds of civilians. So that's the first chapter. Then 21 chapters. Then infinity. In infinity, last chapter, destruction, I have included climate change and some serious problems which are destroying this civilization, and we must take this problem very seriously. And rest of the 21 chapters in between, they are the, and I have referred numerology. Like Hinduism, we have 21 number as has some significance. Like if you do something for 21 days continuously, it becomes habit. So that's why I have reduced 34 chapters into 21 by keeping that numerology in my mind. And similarly, chapter number 18 is there. You must have heard in Bhagavad Gita there are 18 chapters.
Yes.
18 armies, 18 days war. So in chapter number 18, I have included Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, chapter number 14, I have spoken about 7 heavens and 7 hells. So in chapter number 14, that concept is there. Megasthenes said that Indian society is divided into 7 layers. So caste system and all those things are discussed in 7th chapter. 4th chapter, 4 yugas and 4 varnas are discussed. So according to the concept, number is given to the chapter, or in that way I have written. So this becomes a revival of numerology, use of numerology in writing Hinduism. Because if you see ancient text, there are some important numbers with whom some core concepts of Hinduism are attached, and those numbers are used in multiple ways in multiple writings to popularize those concepts. So remembrance of single number reminds you multiple concepts in Hinduism, and it also helps to decode the Hinduism or books related to Hinduism. When you consider a numerology, it plays very important role to dating of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all those things.
So everything is connected with numerology.
Yeah,
basically.
We cannot say everything, but numerology has left a lot of impact on writings of Hinduism. So that is one of the factors you have to consider when you read Hindu texts.
So, Shubham, my next question is about Aryan invasion theory.
Yeah.
Because there are forces in India which are always bent upon breaking India.
Yes.
Any way they can do it. There are people in media, there are people in politics.
Yeah.
So they care much less about the country, and their personal gains are more important for them. But when you have mentioned Aryan invasion theory, you've also mentioned atheist invasion theory.
It is atheist invasion theory only,
How?
not Aryan invasion theory.
How?
Aryan invasion theory is actually atheist invasion theory. There were multiple theories created during British era, knowingly or unknowingly. They were also into research work. But if you see multiple narratives, some people say Aryan came from Europe, Eurasia, Russia, or Iran. So there are multiple theories. So why these kind of things are created? The reason is to project Hinduism foreign originated through Aryan invasion. So to convince that they have vanished or kept aside some indigenous or symbols which are related to Hinduism or archaeological evidences which are found in Indus Valley civilization, which I have mentioned in my book. Even if you see Shaktaism, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Yoga, Ayurveda, and even astronomy, these kind of things were quite popular in Indus Valley civilization. You can say it was a Hinduism or proto-Hinduism kind of thing in Indus Valley civilization, but these things were kept away from us, and somehow it was projected that it is a secular atheistic kind of civilizations, and some very minor things were mentioned, like roads are crossing each other in right angle, or gutters are there, drainage system is there which is 1 meter depth, and all those things, very minor things were mentioned. But major things which symbolize the civilization, Hinduism, they were kept aside,
not mentioned.
Yeah, so that was deliberately done. So this civilization was created completely.
And what was the reason for doing so?
To make the civilization secular or atheistic, so that when Aryan invasion happens, the Hinduism looks foreign originated. These are the people who introduce Hinduism, or these are the people who introduce caste system or varna system. So this was the reason. Generally
to divide people of India.
Yeah. Actually, it is debate between atheists and Hindus. So they have given they have changed narrative of from direct debate to indirect debate by making Hinduism foreign originated and atheism as a indigenous. So that fight against religion looks fight against colonialism. So that kind of narrative was created. Even after Aryan invasion, if you see Buddhism, Jainism, Charvak or Ajivika, they were also projected as atheism. They don't have concept of God. They have nothing to do with Hinduism. They are kind of rebel against the system or varna system. These kind of narratives.
Whereas there are many similarities.
Yes, absolutely.
Among Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism.
Yeah, a lack of understanding about Buddhism and Jainism, or you can say shallow study makes make you think in this way. That's why even subtitle of book is shallow attempts, because it's shallow knowledge which destroyed the social fabric of India.
You were talking about Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, and the attempts were made to show that Hinduism is different from both of these. I've also seen in your book that where you've mentioned that the version which is available in India about Hinduism or Buddhism is not the right version. It is misinterpreted.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate? Yeah.
The reason is that these philosophies, even in the UPSC, I had that philosophy as optional. We have read Hindu schools of philosophy, Buddhism, Jainism. But thing is that all these philosophical debates were oriented towards Mukti and Moksha and Nirvana. We do read that, but on very lighter note, philosophical debates. So that goal must be kept in mind, and we must have goal-oriented approach. These debates are happening to understand the concepts or terms and terminology, so that some benchmarks are set up to achieve the enlightenment or mukti or moksha or nirvana. So that's the goal. But unfortunately, we term Hinduism or Buddhism as merely as a philosophy, which is like demeaning its value, because in Western philosophy, people come and convey their thoughts in a random way, whether God exists or doesn't exist. It has nothing to do with the experience. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism speak about experience. God is not just a belief or a debate on whether God exists or not. It is an experience. The experience is meeting with God, the enlightenment, the nirvana. That's the goal. So we cannot just limit it to just it's a philosophical debate. So even after that, we have to pursue for the meditation, and all those things are included in each and every school. Like you can say that if we speak about meditation and yoga, only Patanjali Sutra comes in the mind. But that's not the reality. Every school, including Advait, Vedant, everyone does meditation or any such sadhana or practices. So we cannot limit particular practice to particular school. If you see about Jainism, Buddhism, The kind of narrative which we have promoted through our history books about Jainism and Buddhism, it is merely like a personality cult, or some people came, they gave some message, they meditated for years, and so they visited some place, gave some ceremony, and they were born in certain family, then they took sannyas. This much of information,
And then they
they
are
do not
revealed.
speak about what it needs to become a yogi, how one can meditate for 10 to 12 years.
So it is more like
continuously.
hero worshipping.
Yeah, it is created like hero worshipping. We must talk about how Buddha meditated for so many years by sitting at one place, how one makes himself physically fit to sit so many hours. Today also Jain munis, if you see, they drink water or very small portion of meal, and they sustain for months or years. That's the practice, and we never question how scientifically it is possible to do these kind of practices, because if we do, we won't sustain. So that those are the things which makes any kind of faith within Hindu fold very interesting. So we must have a practical approach. What is the implementation of that philosophy, how we practice it? So meditation, experiencing God, that kind of interpretation is really expected from the new writers or authors. Other than that, even if you see the concept of enlightenment or discussion, we cannot limit Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism to those differences. These differences were there when philosophers of those times or yogis of those times were discussing all these things. But as a society, it was
They've always been one.
We have been always been one, and there have been some attempts in our scriptures to project all of us as a one society. Like Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, all three have astronomy aspect.
Yes.
They have calendars. They have a concept of Yuga. Yuga cycle we have in Hinduism. Similarly, Buddhism, Jainism have those kind of things. Even the etymology or origin of words is from the Hinduism or Sanskrit language. Other than that, they directly say that all three identify themselves as descendants of Ikshvaku king. So this is also common ancestor, like Abrahamic religions have
ancestor
Abraham.
of Bhagwan Ram.
Yeah, you can say. So Abrahamic religions identify themselves with Abraham. Similarly, we also identify ourselves with Ikshvaku. But you have never seen in history books that we are Ikshvaku family. We identify ourselves. Why this wasn't why these things were not mentioned? To project Buddhism and Jainism against the Hinduism. A rebel. And even if you see Varna system and Jati system, you will find various mentions in Buddhism, Jainism. Even the stories from Ramayana and Mahabharata are mentioned in both the religions.
But nobody talks about that deliberately.
Talks about them. Even if stories from Ramayana and Mahabharata are mentioned, how can you say they had no concept of God and deities in
Hinduism,
in
Buddhism
and
and Jainism?
You cannot say these kind of things. So all these things are very complex and indigenous. So we must bring this kind of things for on the discussion table. When I was searching about Mahabharata, there were many things where from the Buddhist and Jain text which I have referred. These are the things which we unite us. Unfortunately, we haven't projected Hinduism or Buddhism, Jainism in that way. Today, we Hindus have multiple political choices. We vote. Some Hindus vote for Congress, some for BJP, some for Aam Aadmi Party or Shiv Sena. But irrespective of that, somehow we remain, as a society, we remain very peaceful. Why? Because we have some political values like tolerance, mutual respect, having a political diversity. The maturity is there in Hindu society. But unfortunately, same maturity we had in ancient India about Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism. We never allow our difference of opinion get transformed into differences in the society or social clashes. So there were some mechanisms created, but we never mentioned in history books. So communal harmony, we ourselves disturbed in our history books. So that should not be actually done. We need to have a revised version of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism.
And you have also discussed about Indian atheism in your book. So is there any difference in atheism and it changes from country to country? And if we talk about Indian atheism, so where are the roots?
There are no roots of atheism. You will see debates related to atheism. Even atheism is, if you see debates of atheism, they are mentioned in Puranas. Someone is questioning potential of God, or God does not exist, or someone is having boon. You must have heard that Hiranyakashyap story.
And merely asking about God, whether he exists or not, does not mean that somebody does not believe in God.
Believe in it. and there is no direct debate between
Hmm.
atheist versus religion. Even that debate is we have conveyed through the stories. So that's the actually we can say debate between whether God exists or not, whether he is omnipresent or not. And then you will see Bhakt Prahlad, he invites Vishnu to protect him, and Vishnu comes. That shows the omnipresent of God. So we have these kind of stories in Hinduism. But unfortunately, British narrative or colonial narrative, you can say Charvaka was projected as an atheistic school. I would
Because they needed somebody to associate with atheism,
so
who
that-
is our own,
yeah,
so that we can relate.
we can relate to atheism, and we start worshipping atheism, and so that's what the narrative was,
It
to
is-
create a atheist parallel in Hinduism.
It is similar to the Christian missionaries. They come to convert in India, and they generally use Bhagwa Vastra.
Yeah, you can say similar way.
That is to
atheists
deceive
have-
Indians and to show some similarity with Hinduism.
Yeah.
So
to make
people,
user-friendly content to
yes,
attract the people.
so that people don't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
the better example would be, I would say that let's imagine there is Supreme Court and 6 judge bench is assigned to fight some case, and two lawyers are there. Let's take example of J. Sai Deepak and Vishnu Shankar,
Vishnu Ji.
and they are fighting for some reason, and 6 judges have given some judgment after listening all arguments from both the sides, and one street passer is commenting that these are nonsense people. He doesn't know anything. What debate happened, what kind of argument they give, what is the judgment, what is the perspective, what is the concept. He doesn't know anything. But he just gave some random kind of comment on them and denied this is just nonsense happening in the courtroom. And next day he faces the case of contempt of court. And in that judgment, 6 judges, the result which comes, judgment which comes, it is in the ratio 4:2. The two judges are given dissenting opinion against the 4, and dissenting opinion is a safety valve of democracy, as said by Justice Chandrachud. But I would say that will you compare this dissenting opinion by 2 judges with that street passer? No. Why? Because he is, without listening anything, without knowing anything, he is commenting. So in this concept,
he is just passing the judgment
unnecessarily without knowing, and he is facing now case of contempt of court. Now why I told you this story is that J. Sai Deepak is representing Hinduism, Vishnu Shankar Jain is representing Hinduism. They are having healthy debates on Hindu philosophy or Jain philosophy. 6 judges are the, you can say, Pratyaksh Praman, 6 Pramanas in Hinduism. Pratyaksh Praman, Shabda, Upaman, Anuman, all those things. And the 2 judges who gave dissenting opinion is Pratyaksh Praman represented by Charvaka. So Charvaka is a part of system to give the judgment, because all 6 or Pramanas have some demerit. So every Pramana works as a safety valve for each other. So this is the way how we were democratic in ancient India.
So Charvaka cannot be seen standalone.
We cannot project Charvaka as a rebel. He is a part of system. He is there to represent Pratyaksh Pramana. And even if you go in detail, Charvaka doesn't deny the God. Charvaka says that there is no different world where God lives sitting on some throne or something like that. Wherever God is here in the world. In Hinduism, we say that this world or universe is made up of 5 tattvas: air, water, fire, earth, ether. Charvaka says that yes, this universe is made up of all 5 tattvas, and God is the essence of all these 5 tattvas. So God is a integral part of this world. That's what Charvaka means.
Charvaka also
accepts the God.
Accepts
he denies the separate existence of God in some different world. That's what we say in Hindi, kan kan mein Ram hai. So God is everywhere, omnipresent. That's what Charvaka is also conveying. But as Charvaka believes in Pratyaksh Praman, instead of 5, he believes in 4. He denies the ether tattva. So that's the only difference. But that's I should say that it's ideological compulsion because of Pratyaksh Praman. But otherwise, Charvaka is part of system. He doesn't deny God completely.
And before starting the show, we were seeing some news coming from Bangladesh, where after a protest staged by some of the students against some reservation quota, and now there is a military coup in Bangladesh, and Sheikh Hasina has left the country and has taken refuge in India. After this, Hindus are being targeted, killed, they are
Yeah.
being looted,
Mhm.
and Hindu women are being raped in Bangladesh.
Mhm.
Such incidents have also been taken place in Pakistan and
As well as
still
Taliban.
continuing.
Yeah.
Taliban. So you see, Hindus are being targeted in all of these countries,
Mhm.
which were somehow part of India itself.
Yes.
Similar incidents are also keep happening in India.
Yeah.
Take an example of West Bengal.
Yeah.
Political revenge after elections,
Yeah.
targeting Hindu women, raping them,
Mhm.
beating Hindus, killing them.
Mhm.
These news keep coming from West Bengal.
Mhm.
If such incidents keep taking place, do you think that India will have no Hindus in some time, in some years down the line? And how do you imagine India without Hinduism? Because when there will be no Hindu in India,
Cultural
there
genocide.
is no
Yeah.
Hinduism also.
Yeah. Demography plays very important role in maintaining culture.
Hmm.
So demography, maintaining healthy demography is big challenge nowadays. But I usually say, as you said, how do you see India without Hinduism? I would say India without Hinduism and Ganga is like Egypt without pyramids and Nile. So
Without river.
yeah, it's complete desert.
Hmm.
So I won't say that without Hindus, Hinduism will survive. But I should say that we must contribute ourselves. We must participate and contribute for cultural conservation or maintaining healthy demography. And awareness must be created about all these things. And this is because over from colonial period we faced one problem that some communities were encouraged by the British establishment, and they were given preferential treatment. Some in one of the riot happened in 1893 in Mumbai, there was no mistake of particular community in bringing up violence, but yet victims were themselves were held responsible for riots. So this kind of manipulating the riots or giving some manipulated opinions and judgment, these things are happening from colonial time. And this is this is also colonial legacy where one particular community is targeted or suppressed, or state sponsored support to particular community, or taking up human rights violations selectively. These kind of issues are still there, which are burden of colonial era. And even if you see outside India, same things are happening. So we must condemn the human rights violation of all the communities, irrespective of our personal biases.
This question is coming from your initial chapter where you've mentioned Congress Manifesto.
Yeah.
We have taken one question, now it is related. You mentioned a statement of Mahatma Gandhi from
Yeah.
Congress Manifesto of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time. Do you really consider him the father of nation?
We must do some critical inquiry. Who said father of nation? Who coined the term father of nation? It was Subhash Chandra Bose.
Okay.
In 1940, Gandhi and Subhash Bose had some differences about how who will lead the Congress and what are the ways. And Gandhi was quite upset about Subhash Chandra Bose and his ways of dealing the problem. So Subhash Chandra Bose left India. From Bengal he left to Afghanistan, from Afghanistan to Hitler, from Hitler to he came back to Japan, and from Japan he entered through Northeast Singapore. That was his plan by bringing up INA. So in 1944 he said he had some motive to make India free from Britishers. So he had INA, but there was problem. He had differences with Gandhi and Nehru for who will run the Congress or who will lead the Congress. So it
and
was
the
very,
way how the freedom will be
yeah,
taken. Yeah.
how freedom will be given. So to convey message that let's forget the differences and let's unite for the independence of India. So this was big challenge to convey this thing to Mahatma Gandhi or Nehru. You cannot directly send some person, or you have to send some codified message. So there was only one way, that was radio, and which was very easy to convey the message. So on radio he said Mahatma Gandhi is a father of nation. First time somebody called him father of nation, which means that your children, means INA, they are coming through Northeast. So if something goes wrong, you have to support them because we are also your children. And he said father of nation means he is also father of Subhash Chandra Bose. So means I am like your kid, please handle the situation if something goes wrong. And you will see when INA enters in India, whether it is Congress, RSS, or Muhammad Ali Jinnah, all three come up together to support INA people against their execution by British establishment. So actually, Subhash Chandra Bose conveys the message to Mahatma Gandhi in indirect way. You can compare this with the movie called Sher Shah, where Vikram
code
Batra,
name
his
was Sher
code
Shah.
name was Sher Shah. So you can say that this was a similar scenario, but otherwise there is no law or legal backup to the title Father of Nation. In some RTI, this was open to the people. So we cannot say he's legally he is a father of nation or something like that. Otherwise, I don't believe that there is need of any such concept, because India is a democratic country. There have been many philosophers in India from ancient time to modern time. We cannot just limit thoughts of one person and ideology of the country. We must believe in diversity and diversity of thoughts.
And we believe that India is our mother.
Yeah.
Bharat Mata.
Yeah,
so
Bharat Mata.
Nobody can be the father of nation.
Father of nation. We are like children.
Yeah, we are like
Let's
children,
accept
all
the
of
children.
us.
Because
Yes.
ultimately hero worship leads to dictatorship, as said by Dr. Ambedkar. So we cannot do it with Gandhi too.
And I neither consider Mahatma Gandhi Mahatma or the father of nation.
Yeah.
I don't consider him because his actions have led to the massacre of Hindus in Mopla.
Yeah.
So he might be somebody who was a pujari of ahimsa, but his actions have given nothing but bloodshed to Hindus.
Okay.
And they have been subject to killing.
Okay. In Mopla only.
In Mopla.
Yeah.
And in Noakhali also, he suggested that Hindu women who are being raped, if they want, they can commit suicide by taking a dose of poison.
So because of this reason, you do not consider?
I cannot consider him because instead of relating with those suffering women, he is giving such foolish advices to them is pathetic.
I cannot say that I should support this kind of thing. But in generally, if you see, because of cult created about Mahatma Gandhi, you cannot utter word against Mahatma Gandhi because he is father of nation. So he is immune to criticism right now.
And there are RTIs from Government of India where the government has replied that there is no compulsion of considering him the father of nation.
The problem is that if I criticize Gandhi, then people will start doing intellectual mob lynching of me and maligning my image. I am violent or what, or if I am in Godse's team or what, I support his killing. So people will start maligning my image. So I do not get into these issues.
This is what happened after his death.
Yeah.
All the Brahmins of same Gotra as Godse, they were targeted and killed.
Yeah.
Similarly, what happened after the death of Indira Gandhi, all the 6 were targeted and killed in Delhi and in other areas also. So, yes, hero worshipping is very dangerous.
Yes.
Now, going to the next question, you are a writer yourself and you must have taken support from many people, many resources to write this book. And it is not easy to get references, especially our ancient history. It is very difficult to find because when you colonize someone, the first thing you do is you destroy their culture. And how do you destroy their culture? You change the scriptures. Why? Because when somebody is going to go through those scriptures, if you do some adjustments according to your liking, then it is very easy to
colonize
people. And this is what happened in Ramayana and Mahabharata also. There were some names of ancient places which were deliberately changed so that the upcoming generations cannot
in English
quote.
Or Sanskrit?
In Sanskrit.
Okay.
So that the upcoming generation cannot quote those names. And if they do so, then it can be denied. Because the name is changed. So where is this place now? So do you think, and then they will say that it is a myth.
It is a myth.
It never happened. So what is your opinion? Mahabharata, Ramayana, are they myth or reality?
I should say that why myth or reality or history? Why not myth or maths? Why not myth or enlightenment? Why myth or astronomy? Why myth or history? Why myth or archaeology. So I
Hmm.
keep on going till 32 to 34. There are so many 32 to 34 data in the which we can do do research on, and these are the data which are mentioned in Ramayana and Mahabharata. That's why name of that chapter in my book is multi-layered data science. So these 32 to 34 data sets are integrated into the
What kind of data set?
archaeology, mathematics, yoga, meditation, our Guru Parampara, genealogies of the kings, mathematics and science,
So
even the Ayurveda.
all of
So
this,
whole Hindu lifestyle is
given
coded
in
in the Ramayana and Mahabharata. So once we read that, we can learn so many things. So even in that, archaeology is included. Today there are many places which are mentioned in Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they do have some archaeological evidences which can be traced back to 5,000 to 7,000 years. I'm not sure about date or perfect date, but they are somewhere around 5,000 to 7,000 years. So
and which is also now accepted by the world.
which is
This timeline is accepted.
Yeah, this time is now accepted, but the problem is that we learn Ramayana and Mahabharata in very isolated form, that they are merely books written by Vyas and Vyas ji and Valmiki ji, but it's not so easy to speak about Ramayana and Mahabharata. In Ramayana and Mahabharata, Vyas ji and Valmiki ji are part of Ramayana and Mahabharata. That's most important point. Secondly, these are not separate books. There are many characters and stories which are interconnected in Ramayana and Mahabharata. There are genealogies which are continued in Ramayana and Mahabharata. These two epics represent Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga. So you do see change in value system from Satyug to Kali Yuga. You see change in society or Varna system structure. So it is whole study of ancient India. We cannot see it is just a story of a family, or it is just a story of some war happened. Okay, that was the fact. I accept that. But with that, there are so many things we learn about that. Even there are tribal communities which are mentioned in Ramayana and Mahabharata. We do not find proofs of these tribal communities in any other scriptures. So this is also proof that these tribal communities were there and part of society in those times. In case of Ramayana Mahabharata, there is also one concept that from Brahman genealogy starts, and it now then comes to Ram. Then now today's generation, some kings claim that it is their he was their ancestor. So this is a continuity. So we do not teach the Ramayana and Mahabharata in continuity also. Okay, that event happened. We are finished off with that event. So that's the narrative, but that's not the thing. Even today's genealogies are connected with Ramayana and Mahabharata. That's the point. So I have included so many aspects related to Ramayana and Mahabharata in my book, so that if someone wants to recreate it, rewrite it, or make it in video format, it will also help them. So it is written in that way. So even I have not mentioned direct stories from Ramayana and Mahabharata. It is the structural analysis, how Ramayana and Mahabharata is written in various phases.
And Shubham Ji, you've also seen that recently after 2024 elections, while obviously was taking oath, he mentioned Philistine and he said Jai Philistine, whereas he never says Bharat Mata Ki Jai. He has problem with that. And then people got agitated. They took to roads, and Bajrang Dal and other Hindu Sangatans, organizations, they gave call to people to agitate at Jantar Mantar to protest against his act, which he did. I was present there, and there was barely around 700 to 800 people across Delhi who gathered there in the protest against OVC. So do you think that what is the reason why can't Hindus be united? And whatever happens in West Bengal, they cannot be united. Whatever happens in Delhi, they cannot be united. Things that are happening in Bangladesh now, people are being killed, but Hindus are not on the road. So why are they not united?
Reason is that highlighting the local identities or regional identities or small identities. That's the one of the reasons which we also trace in the history books, how these small identities were highlighted. I'm not against these smaller groups or something like that, but we must accept that there were some traditional problems in Indian society, like we are still continuing with them, like practice of untouchability. Some people are not allowed to sit with you on the sofa. They are asked to sit on the floor. some people do not share their meal or a glass of water with some castes. That also untouchability. I was reading a newspaper. In that I read that some issue was there in Anganwadi or midday meal scheme. So some lady from vulnerable section was serving the meal, so people from upper caste denied that we won't have meal cooked by her.
But do you think
so these are the untouchability practices which are there, which we are not addressing. Some people say that we do not believe in caste system and all those things. I say, even if you don't believe, that's not the issue is, are you speaking for them? We must participate in we must consider their problems as our problems. We must condemn all these things. We must actively work to finish all these things. Once we do this, then there will be a sense of unity. If we practice the discrimination, then discrimination will be the end. If we practice unity, then unity will be the end. That's the simple formula. Otherwise, if you see in society, people are highlighting their caste identity, ego clashes between various castes, unnecessary ego clashes. So that's the new trend happening. We must give up all smaller identities and unite for the issue. In case of caste, I say that I don't say people that you give up your caste or language identity, because caste is associated with multiple factors, sometimes with language, geography, food culture, clothing, or their family deity. There are so many cultural aspects, or their profession or traditional products they produce. So these kind of things are there. Multiple things attached to caste. So we cannot ask people to give up their caste identity and call themselves as a Hindu, because Hinduism's diversity is quite fragmented in multiple castes. That also the reality which we never realize. I know there is discrimination, but this is also the other aspect of the caste. So because of that, people are attached to all those customs and all those things, and people sometimes limit themselves to that identity
To
only,
their
rather
identity
than umbrella
only.
identity Hindu. But it is high time that kind of things are happening around. We must exist as a united society.
I see that there are improvements. Now the caste is more untouchability is not at that level when it was
But
before.
whatever is left, even that should be finished.
Yeah, that should also be finished.
Yes.
So that there can be people can have a sense of unity, and then they can be united.
Even if you see, as a human being, it is really heartbreaking that today also some people are doing manual scavenging without any safety.
Well,
these are very serious issues. We must take up these issues and eliminate completely, so that even
we are living in the age of AI, artificial intelligence,
and
but
we
cannot
have solution.
Yeah, we don't have any solution.
I think so IIT Madras have taken this initiative to manufacture some machinery for manual scavenging, and even current government has taken up some mission related to that.
Hindus are vulnerable, and everyone can target Hindus in this country. This has become a trend now. So there are some UPSC teachers also. This question I'm asking only because you've been a part of UPSC, you've been a student. So we have seen many viral videos of such teachers commenting on Hindu texts such as Ramayana or Mahabharata and giving a false context to the candidates while they're teaching in their coaching institutes. What is your take on that? And why do they do it? Because they try to become a master of every stream. Yeah, that's the true thing. I always say one thing: if you want to become a doctor, you need to be MBBS or other studies. You want to be engineer, you need a degree. But when it's case of religion, everyone feels that he is an expert in that. That's the problem. Everyone is not expert in all the things. There shall be some basic degree or something like that in case of religion also. But I accept that there is freedom, but that shall not be used to spread misinformation about Hinduism. It is not just case of Ramayana and Mahabharata. There are many things which UPSC coaching classes quote wrongly. And I condemn those kind of things, but I won't target a particular person or UPSC coaching classes. In general, if you see, there is one book which is used for the civil services regarding independence of India, which is written by the IPS officer. So when I was reading that book, one of the conclusion of the chapter is that idol worship and polytheism is like social illnesses. So you are manufacturing such a generation by giving such a statement that people will develop stereotypes about Hindu practices in their mind, whether they become IS or IPS or not. And then these people will become bureaucrats.
If they become bureaucrat,
Hmm.
see how they will see the society. If government comes and appoints these IS officers on the UNESCO heritage site, or to check up the files, which sites shall be selected for the
Hmm.
UNESCO, or the any other officer, they will have biasness that okay, idol worship and polytheism is like social illness, we shall
Hmm.
not take up this issue at a UNESCO tangible heritage list.
Hmm.
So they will definitely select some other religion which fits right for them, or worship way of worshipping is right. So this biasness is there. Other than that, there is one book called Art and Culture book by one of the IS officer. The concept of secularism in according to Indian constitution is multiculturalism. It has nothing to do with atheism or non-religious activity. Yet in that book, secularism has been used multiple times in the context of atheism or non-religion,
Hmm.
or in that era, to give that kind of feel. So that is very wrong interpretation of secularism. On the one hand, in polity we study that interpretation of secularism is multiculturalism. In art and culture, it is interpreted as atheism or non-religious kind of
Hmm.
thing. So these are contradictory concept. And even as you have said, there are some dividing forces in India. So one of the popular movement is Khalistan, and
Yes.
one more is there, Dravid Nadu. So these things do not happen in a single day. You need to manipulate brains of people, you have to brainwash people to create such kind of things. So you need to give some historical cultural argument to brainwash the people, to create a separate identity out of India, so that once people are developed divided socially, they can be divided geographically. For that you have to generate some arguments. So such argument do exist in UPSC study material. So once this person, if this person becomes IPS or IAS, he won't take action on these people because all things are actually already justified.
And
So
they'll
he
have
won't be able to see okay, something wrong is happening in the society. He's
they'll
like,
have
no, this is a practice.
they'll have a soft corner for them.
Absolutely soft corner. They will completely
Because he will
ignore.
see them fighting for their own rights.
Yes. Because terms and terminologies are used like that. There some traditions are reflected as rebels and all. You will read in my book. I have written about separatist movement in chapter number 9. So you will.
And Hindus are also being targeted because of polytheism, because Hindus generally do not have one god.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we believe that there are 33 koti devi devta.
Yeah.
So we practice our religious beliefs in a different manner than others, especially Abrahamic religion, where there is only one prophet or one god. So what is the difference in polytheism or monotheism?
I don't go with the difference. I go with the similarity. Many people will say, what kind of similarity between one god and many god? The thing is that in Hinduism, there is concept of activating 7 chakras to experience the god. So in Muladhara chakra, we have Kundalini. We have to take that Kundalini or utilize its potential to reach to 7th chakra. It pierces through the 7 chakras, and at 7th chakra, which is outside the body, you experience the enlightenment or omnipresent god. So that's the concept. So in our traditions, we call it 7 chakras. There are other tradition, prophetic tradition, they called it 7 heavens. On just like on our 7 chakras, there are some presiding deities. In Shaktism, Shakta deities are there in 7 chakras. In Shaivism, you can say incarnations of Shiva are there. In Vaishnavism, so and so forth. So similarly, in prophetic tradition, on 7 heavens, there are 7 prophets which do have a physical appearance. And some prophets claim that when they were on the journey of the heaven, they experienced physical form of the
God
prophets. And when they reached that 7th chakra, they experience the form which is form of God, which is, I should say, not form, but formless or beyond the form,
not
the
physical,
omnipresent,
intangible,
beyond the description. That kind of God they experience on 7th beyond 7th heaven. So these are some similarities between them. These are the similarities. Even the Yazidi tradition, nowadays you will see ISIS terrorists are targeting them. Even in Yazidi tradition, this 1+7 concept is there, 1 god and 7 prophets. So this concept is quite similar to even Hinduism. There are idols of Buddha found with a 7-headed snake on the head. So which snake means Kundalini and 7-headed means symbolizing 7 chakras. So similar kind of symbolism is found across the globe in ancient world, in across the civilizations. So this is the process of enlightenment is same. The expressing the things are little different. So this, I do believe in this 1+7 kind of thing rather than the polytheism and monotheism division. I don't go with that.
There are more similarities than differences, huh?
Differences are there, but they are very minor. If you see the 1+7 concept, you go with this, then I don't think so. There are major differences, because unnecessarily, if we create polytheism versus monotheism debate, it will ultimately end with the clashes. And we don't want to do that. So we need to do a right interpretation rather than leading to clashes, social clashes.
So, Shubham Ji, you have taken the context from the Congress Manifesto, and you have quoted the statement of Mahatma Gandhi, which he gave. So, what do you believe in? Gandhi's Ram Rajya or Savarkarji's Hindu Rashtra?
I have quoted Gandhi twice. My book starts with Gandhi and ends with Gandhi, even though I do not agree with him completely. So that's the irony. But we shall have differences. I have written book because I have differences with all of them. So if you see all the schools, whether it's Mahatma Gandhi or Savarkar, and there were other philosophers also at that time, whether it's Sri Aurobindo and other people. My opinion doesn't match with anyone. That's why I have taken this initiative. But I would say that Gandhi's Ram Rajya is not exactly Ram Rajya. Gandhi says about decentralized kind of governance. He doesn't accept that central and state government shall be there. So if you see original Ramayana, there is a central government, that is Ayodhya, the capital of Lord Rama. Other than that, Gandhi says about the Varna system. He accepts Varna system, denies the caste system. But if you see Hindu text, Varna system and caste system are quite connected, and there are some theories that Jati system is formed out of Varna system. There are some mythical theories, I should say. So there are some theories, they are interconnected. So we cannot say that Gandhi's Ram Rajya or concept of Ram Rajya. Gandhi imposed his value like non-violence on Ramayana. We cannot take it as a very seriously, because Lord Rama did use the violence.
Yes.
So we shall interpret that Mahatma Gandhi wanted to promote non-violence because it was suitable at that time, and he used religion in right way. Even though it is a wrong interpretation of the religion, we can say in this way. So in case of Hinduism, if you say from Satyuga till Kali Yuga, value system falls down, and to achieve the same benchmark of value system, one avatar comes and he uplifts the value system and establishes the dharma. That's what happens in Ramayana, that's what happens in Mahabharata, in case of Lord Krishna.
And Bhagwan Ram used violence to establish peace.
Yeah. So God themselves come to establish the dharma. Similarly, in Kali Yuga, Kali is coming. So let's wait for Kali, what kind of dharma he establishes. Let's not depend on the what kind of society Lord Rama created. But I strongly believe that it will be same as Ram Rajya, because value system of all the phases of 4 yugas is almost same. So it is just fall of value system which is taken up by the avatar. So that's the thing. In case of Hindu Rashtra, I would say Savarkar created concept of Hindu Rashtra, but I should say right now we have challenges like climate change. I believe strongly that by 2040 it will be really difficult to live on this earth or Mother Earth. We have exploited this earth so much that even if you read IPCC reports or sea level rise, or you will see icebergs breaking down in both the poles. So we can say that we shall focus on the climate change mitigation. And this is not, I'm saying, a one-sided perspective. Even other communities shall take these kind of things very seriously. Unfortunately, I was reading about Home Ministry. They banned some NGOs under FCRA, violation of FCRA. These NGOs were working in conversion activities against the Hindus. So even they need to understand, if they are sending thousands and thousands crore in India to convert the Hindus or making this country Islamic country or Christian country. Even communists use atheism as a tool, social engineering or a social theory, so that people will vote communism. So even just like religion, communism is also doing the same thing. So we shall not force our religion or impose our religion on others or expansionist theory, but that should be the mutual consensus. So I won't say that a particular community shall take responsibility of climate change or something like that. So rather than theocratic state or something like that, we shall go with the eco-friendly kind of state or eco-friendly Rashtra.
And we have spoken about Hindu Rashtra
Yeah.
and Gandhi's Ram Rajya also.
Yeah.
Now, what is the difference, or how is Hindutva different from decolonizing Hinduism?
Yeah. Decolonizing Hinduism is not about introducing new concepts like Hindutva. Decolonizing Hinduism includes concepts like Panchatattva, 7 chakras, yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, Vedic maths. I do not include these topics in very detail, but these are some core concepts which were missed during colonial writings. So I do mention these points, that these points shall be considered while writing the Hinduism. We cannot miss the even
the essence of Hinduism.
Even the traditional dance and music, classical dance and music, even we cannot miss that, because colonial people had some preconceptions that religion will be like Abrahamic religion, the society will be like Abrahamic society. So they had some preconception.
So their template was different.
That template was different. This template is different. They tried to fit Hinduism in their format, their society format. Even in case of, if you see Indian society, let's take example of Varna system. We were told that Varna system is out of Manusmriti. From God's body, multiple Varnas came out. I have given such 7-8 theories which are different from each other or little bit similar. We never knew these multiple
theories existed.
Mythically, these kind of origins were conveyed. We limited ourselves what was conveyed to us through colonial era. That's Manusmriti se caste system ban gaya and all those things. So we shall come out of all those things. So for that, this book is written. In case of Hindutva, it is you must see that in colonial era, two things happen. First, capitalism was introduced. Capitalism promotes individualism, because individualism ensures the enhancing the personal capacity as well as enhancing the production, and individualism also promotes the consumerism. So capitalism promotes individualism. At the same time, the Hindu society, which was fragmented in multiple jatis or castes, you can say. So this old system started falling because of capitalism and social reforms as well. So individualism was getting picked up in the Indian society. So to make Hindu society friendly with that, Savarkarji introduced individualism in the format of Hindutva. So everyone is Hindutva. There is no communal or social identity other than Hindutva or Hindu. So give up the caste identity and go with the Hindu identity. We all are Hindu, no discrimination, no untouchability, nothing like that. Everyone is equal. So this was the new philosophy created for the individualistic Hindu society. Even if you see Indian Constitution, fundamental rights are not given to particular community, one or two community. They are universal and
given to individuals.
That was not case in earlier phase. So Hindutva concept is quite friendly with the modern society. This creates the social stability among the various castes in Hinduism, brings equality over there. Also asks to develop some mutual respect within various faiths, that in the name of faith people don't fight, Shaivism versus Vaishnavism or other kind of thing. And this also gives space to even non-Hindus. He also tries to pull all of them under the Hindutva identity. So somehow social stability can be maintained, and which is very necessary for the development. So that was his perspective. In my case, I don't give any new philosophy. I just explain what was the Hinduism in ancient times.
Okay. So this is going to be the last question.
Yeah.
Is there any plan on joining politics?
I think so. Cultural conservation is a duty of each and everyone. We shall train ourselves to conserve the culture. There are many organizations which are working. I should say that Hinduism is not a uniform religion or which has a minimum literature, that kind of thing. We have scriptures, we have tangible, intangible culture, we have oral traditions. So these are all, we need to conserve all these things. So we need a human capital or trained human capital which can help to conserve or continue these kind of traditions and culture. So that's the main need nowadays. It is not just about joining politics and using that identity. We must, even those who are not politics, they shall participate in cultural conservation.
Good people should also come in politics.
People can come in politics, but even other than politics, there are many activities going on. Like some people are conserving step wells. Prime Minister mentioned in his Man Ki Baat. There are some people who are doing. There were some temples which were ignored. People are excavating and maintaining those temples. There are in Maharashtra, if you see nowadays, there are some efforts to conserve or revive the Modi Lipi. The Modi is the one of the writing script in Marathi, related to Marathi. So there are some efforts going on. But it is also true that when you write this kind of books, politicians do call me to join politics. One of the local party from southern India called me. So I said that I will be in the
so offers have started coming.
State wishes I will be appearing on 25th of August, because there are some things in my book which are related to right wing or left wing, or how it impacts the mentality of the people. Maybe because of that 7.12 and 10.2 table, maybe because of that they must be interested in me joining politics, but I shown no interest right now. I may join if I don't get into civil services. I will join private sector, something.
So your UPSC preparation is going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And any plan on writing another book?
Any plan? I should go with the Hinduism itself, but I will need one collaborator. I have that author in my mind. I'm thinking of joining hands with him, and in collaborated efforts, I'm thinking of writing new book. But even for that, I will need lot of efforts, because Hinduism is not a small topic. It is a vast knowledge. So
there is a lot of research
3-4 years you have to do research for that topic. Multiple new researchers are coming, so you have to keep yourself updated about all these things. So I'm thinking to collaborate with him. Let's see how it goes, whether he accepts my offer or not.
From our side, I mean, congratulations in advance.
Thank you so much
for your upcoming project also, and it was very nice to have you in our studio. And we wish that we can have you back again with a new podcast with your new book.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Shubham, for joining us today. So this is the book which was discussed during today's podcast with Shubham G Deore, who is the author of this book, Decolonizing Hinduism. And this book is available in the market, and I request everyone to purchase this book to support him and to support such young authors who are writing about Hinduism. Thank you very much.